Okay, good evening. This is the December 19th, 2024 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The time is 6 o'clock. Our first order of business is to convene into work session to review the cases, and then we'll reconvene into general session at 6:30.
Get him away from me.
We're good to go?
We good to go?
He's not giving you anything.
Okay.
Let's say yes.
All right, so we're in work session this evening. I guess the first order of business is roll call. I'm Chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission, Edmund Haas. Commission members, Guerra.
Here.
Guerra. Sue Blankenship.
Present.
Cindy Bishop.
Here.
Ed Marr.
Present.
And we may have Kent Heffman?
I don't know.
Heffman, maybe? Okay. But we do have an honorary guest in Glenn Portman here.
Just observing.
He's observing tonight. So thank you for that.
Distinguished observer. Distinguished.
If Mary, our staff members are Mary Perron Boswell and Matt Steer, if you'd introduce the rest of the staff tonight. And
Mr. Louis Rahil. And then Ms. Cammie McGee.
He's staff now.
And Dan Kohlers, who's on the staff.
so the quicker we get through the cases, the quicker we get to cake.
Okay, let's go.
A man with priorities.
Like we haven't had sugar.
Exactly.
Right. All week.
So there's two cases on your agenda this evening. The first case is Mr. Matt Steers.
Thank you, Ms. Perron Boswell. Singa's Pizza. That's the it's located at southwest corner of East Beltline and South MacArthur in the Valley Ranch Plaza. That's where Esperanza's was, or Esparza's, I guess, back in the day. So because this lease space wasn't a restaurant before, and because it abuts residential, it requires a special use permit. Because this is currently zoned Plan Development District, it's just an amendment to the Plan Development District. So what they're doing is they're requesting a 5 parking space variance, and so that requires an exception to our parking requirement. As we were analyzing their parking, we realized that the U-Haul was occupying a bunch of spaces that they weren't supposed to be occupying. So we asked the owner to get the U-Hauls under control and put them where they belong. And so he's made a valid attempt and parked them in the right spots and actually designated those spots U-Haul parking only. And so we're thinking that is under control now. So we're going to recommend approval, and
Any
really
issue with parking supply, the overall site?
no. We went and visited it to photograph the U-Hauls, and there weren't any other parking in the rear besides maybe employees or something. So there was plenty of parking.
Well, what's the same question on both? What's the thinking on the restriction in terms of open and close hours? Is that for the center or?
No, that's just a requirement for restaurant users to have that noted as part of their SUP. So we're putting it in with the PD.
Okay.
And so what I told them was put your, where you could be potentially open until, because before they came with like 10 to 10. I was like, well, put the maximum hours so we don't have to come back and amend the ordinance over and over again.
Right.
So.
Okay, makes sense.
Any other questions?
So, Sue? Cindy? Great.
Oh, I have a question. I forgot to look on the drawing. Can you also enter the business from the back if you park in the back?
Yes, that's what I was going to ask. I see a door there, but I don't know if that's an employee door. It looks like it's a door to the rest of the seating area.
Oh, okay. On the floor plan is what you're looking at?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I was thinking that that was all back to house, but we can check with the applicant and
We can
see
ask.
see if that
Yeah.
was a potential entry there.
What's your concern there? Just
No, I think it's good. I know on the next item, you can enter it from the back, and I think that's
Right.
great, because it helps with parking. If you park in the back, it can go in.
yeah.
Good thinking.
Okay.
We're not gonna,
Bless
no
you.
scrubber required, right?
Thank you.
Smell good, smell good, we don't want one, but there's been scrubbers required in other areas, and so I didn't know.
No, I don't think we ever have required us. We've talked about a scrubber, but we haven't ever required one.
What was that one up there?
It was
behind
Rose's.
Rose's. It was behind, or another one.
It was Hat Creek. Yeah, we didn't require a scrubber
Okay.
there, and we
Okay.
talked about, yeah.
It's like $100,000, wasn't it?
Very expensive.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's quite pricey.
Yeah, okay.
So the next item on the agenda is mine, and it's at just up the street here, where there's the FedEx on Denton Tap. So that's actually two buildings, or two properties, two buildings that are attached. So the northern half of that building is actually about just under 13,000. It was constructed back in 2001. It was zoned town center in the 1980s. At that time, they were proposing a drive-through at the northern end of that building, and it was requested that they didn't put the drive-through in, that they maintain the landscaping on that side of the building, so that the drive-through never happened. So we kind of come full circle. So I believe that's where Tangerine used to be.
Yeah. Yep.
And so it's been pretty much vacant ever since they left. So now we have Jason's Deli, who's proposing to go in there. It's gonna occupy about 4,600 square feet. And they're proposing a drive-through. So they would be taking out some of that landscape area for a drive aisle. So it's about 10 by 200. They are proposing to kind of mitigate that with adding trees around the perimeter of the site and on the landscape island there. They're also gonna add some enhanced pavement at the entrance and exit of that drive-through. So they're gonna have roughly 23% landscaping.
So they're gonna keep those trees.
What's that?
They're gonna keep those trees that are there.
They're gonna keep the trees and they're gonna add more trees,
Yeah, that's-
yeah.
Those trees are goners.
Well, they'll have to.
They're gonna try,
They're gonna have to replace them, right? So the hours of operation would be 10 to 10, 7 days a week. There's no patio proposed for this location, so it would be dine-in and takeout, drive-through. So there have been restaurants in the past that had Taco Del Mar, Carvel ice cream, Little Caesars pizza, and a healthy meat marketplace. So it's built to accommodate for restaurant use in that center. So the request is twofold. First, to allow a restaurant with a drive-through at the north end of the building, and second, to allow the change in the amount of landscaping proposed. Because they'll be taking out the landscaping for the drive-through, and then they're proposing to add 2 more parking spaces at the rear of the property to kind of add some extra parking. In terms of
Are those
signage,
2 spaces required?
no,
So we really,
they want to add them. We didn't ask them to add it. So there is signage shown on the building, but they didn't provide any information as to what that sign is, the size or anything like that. So they'll have to come through the regular process for that.
but they could use their logo, their colored logo. That would
Yeah,
be oil, right?
yeah, so, yeah, because it'll be trademarked.
So it's not so we're not approving signage.
We're not approving signage tonight. It's just kind of for demonstrative purposes. So they are providing a takeout window or drive-through window, and they're gonna be adding some porcelain tile and some wood wall cladding, so you can see that on the exhibit. You have a floor plan just showing how they're gonna set up. And then Yeah, so the landscaping. They're gonna add about 12 new trees onto the site. Like I said, to make up for some of the landscaping that they're taking out. So,
I didn't see their customary salad bar.
Oh,
This must be.
I think it's in there.
This is the
Is that
drive-through
it?
version.
Is that what?
I think
I
it's
thought
in
that was
there.
behind looks like it's behind the counter.
Oh, maybe.
yeah, that's not part of this case, but you can ask.
Exactly.
Well, it's set up for a Starbucks. In case Sally ever goes away, so I'll have their drive-through. The drive-through will be sitting there. And
yeah.
you'll have a lot of life over there.
Yeah,
So it is, are they gonna, it looks like they have a speaker box or communication system. I would assume that it was a pickup window, not a drive-through, because I didn't know that you could do that at Jason Sally, but it looks like they're,
I think it's part of their new concept.
okay.
I would imagine that most people would probably order ahead, like on the app, and then kind of come through and pick it up. But I'm sure you can do the same thing, because you can do that at Chick-fil-A now, right? You can go anywhere. You can either order online and drive through and pick up, or
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I thought, that's what I thought it would be versus pulling up and ordering something and then preparing it. I didn't think they necessarily had that. And then if you park on the north side of the building today, you really have to, there's not a sidewalk extension. So you have to walk around today, right? So right now, so they're gonna have to walk in, potentially in front of the drive-through, which I'm not saying that's necessarily an issue with that, but
Or you mean if they park on the other side?
on
Yeah,
the north side.
yeah, I was wondering if the staff was concerned about that, because I could see people, crossing in front of the drive-through.
Yeah, we've got the same situation at Rose's. And,
Yeah.
yeah, just,
Yeah,
It's not unusual.
it's not
the,
usual.
Not the best, but it's not unusual.
Well, there's that stamped concrete, so that kind of could serve as a,
well, that's true, like, kind of like a crosswalk, sort of.
yeah, but
Can we request that they put some signs up that
like slow.
slow pedestrian crossing?
I think that's reasonable.
I did have one question. I guess when you were talking to them, was there any discussion about diverting the traffic to the north, like toward the bank? Because that's another issue, I guess, when you come out, you can go left or right, or south and north. And, you know, obviously there's people parked in front of Jason's Deli that wants to, you know, if they want to back out, it's just, I think it'd be smarter to kind of divert the traffic to the north.
We did not look at that. I would assume that people would go out depending where they had to go.
Because the reason I say,
Because you could get out on, you know, town center too.
yeah,
So there's multiple ways to
it's just,
enter and exit that. site.
yeah, because I'll frequent that, God, that Greek place there.
Little Greek.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's
Sweet.
just, sometimes during lunch, it's just hard to back up, and it's just, I can imagine with other people coming out.
I think people kind of figure that out. I ain't going over that way.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only way to do that is probably put a lane and then you'd have people driving over the curb, and that'd be worse.
So
Oh, here he is.
you have Kent Haveman joining us.
We did save your chair. It's over here though.
Oh, sorry.
I just knew it. Chairs around here.
Have it, I like that.
How are you doing, Ken?
Good. Although, you know, with the landscaping, I don't know that that's necessarily, that's not gonna be it's not like there's a sidewalk there today. going
It's all
across there.
solid right now.
Right, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, so yeah, I don't know that's not really gonna be a concern. It's not gonna be high traffic.
Yeah, I think, I'm thinking that the intent is most people probably go in and eat in. But obviously the drive-through and the pickup has gotten more popular, especially since COVID. But they can talk about that more.
Has anyone been to a Jason's Deli that has a drive-thru? I've never seen that.
No, the one in Louisville doesn't.
And did they show any of the turning radiuses on their plan of getting into the drive-through, like if you're coming either direction? Is there, is this an existing curb that's
Yeah.
coming out that far? Okay.
So, you know, and engineering has looked at all of this, and then once they get it, if it gets approved, when it goes through the engineering plan review process, they'll tweak it if they need to.
Okay.
to make everything.
It's not gonna be high speed, so,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
curb return shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
So I have a question about the landscaping, and I know this isn't on their site, but it's on the adjacent bank site.
Okay.
There's a site distance issue, and if you're putting a drive-through in there, it's gonna really impact the people coming in, I don't know how to describe, on the northeast driveway from Town Center Boulevard. When you come around that bank, there's a whole row of shrubs. You cannot see to the right to get, I don't know if anybody else has driven that. You can't see.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you
I
have to
drove-
slow
I
down
went
to
through it
like
this weekend.
1 mile an
Oh.
hour, 2 miles an hour
Yeah.
and look. And if you're
Yeah.
putting a drive-through there, you're increasing a lot more traffic back there, and that's gonna be an issue. You're gonna have a few accidents there. I've decided to start avoiding it, and I come in the other side through to go to Orange Theory. I used to come the other way, but it's like, you can't see, it's
Because of the
blind
shrubs?
because of the shrubs.
Yeah,
So
that's
that-
probably gonna be the main point of entry.
Yeah.
Is that more of a code compliance thing then? Is the bank required to have shorter shrubs to?
Well,
Make
it's
it
a
easier
shrub
to
row, and it looks very nice, but you
Yeah,
just
but-
can't see around it when you're coming in.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay.
You know,
We've all driven it.
we could ask them, just say it was brought up.
Yeah, and I know it's not part of this, but you're
Right.
adding traffic back here.
And so maybe if they just, remove a couple of those shrubs.
Yeah, put a
then-
gap in it so you can see.
Okay. No,
Just not,
thank
but
you
I
for
don't
pointing that
know,
But
I know it's not part of this, but
Those are the bank shrubs?
they're the bank
Yeah,
shrubs.
So you're saying if you're exiting, go north? That's
If you're
If you're
If you're
in.
coming in the driveway
If you're
this
coming
way, the shrub row is right there, and you cannot see to the right. And if they're headed towards the drive-through, they're not even gonna look right.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hopefully,
just an observation.
traffic, the speed is
Well,
10
yeah,
miles
but
or
you,
less,
but you're
5 miles an
adding
hour.
a drive-through, so you're pulling
And
cars
it does
into
feel,
the
it
back.
feels narrow through there. I
Mhm.
know what you're talking about.
Well, the road
Which
jets
is-
out.
yeah, yeah,
a
yeah,
bit. Yeah, that's the issue.
So, and I know it's not part of this
Yeah.
particular property, but it does affect.
I would think people are gonna start coming in the others, the entry that's
Yeah.
opposed to it, and they make the left.
I think you should let Louis know about that.
Yeah, I'll let Louis know.
Okay.
I love it when he talks third person. So staff is recommending approval of it. And obviously, like we said, once it goes through, if it gets approved, it'll go through engineering review and they'll take a closer look at the I believe the radiuses all work right now, but
Yeah.
we'll take another look at it. That's all.
Update on council actions?
So
Yes.
before we jump in, so if the
Yeah.
signage, so if they submit signage that applies, because it's a PD, does it automatically have to come back?
No,
Okay.
It can be
I'll
said.
just get a permit.
Okay.
yeah. Usually we bring the signs if there's something that they need some kind of exception for, or they want to do something special that isn't typically allowed.
Right, okay. That's good.
All right, so update on council action items. So we went to council last week, I think. We approved the ordinances for the 134 Turnberry, the STR, the ordinance for Victory Coppell, and then the ordinance for 300 Freeport, the industrial building. Cases that were going to council last go-around, the carport on Arborbrook, that actually got continued to January 14th because that one requires a supermajority, and it was a council member that was absent. So in order to give them, full council to vote on that, they got moved to January 14th. The other item, the Lake Breeze condos off of Beltline, that was denied by City Council. And then Mr. Glenn Portman was acknowledged at the last meeting for his all years of service, so thank you, Glenn.
How many years of service?
Since 2007.
So how many years?
A lot.
13, 14?
That's neat add.
No.
15?
17.
17.
17, yes.
Long time.
I think that's true.
Yeah, and you were on a different board before the P and Z. What was it? The
It was special counsel.
special
for-
counsel. Yeah.
And I was actually on both boards at the time.
Oh, gotcha.
City council had somebody else lined up, and that somebody else said, I don't want to do that, the day before they were supposed to serve.
Good deal.
But we're starting to get run on time. If we could let Glenn have your spot there so we can get a group picture with the cake and
So,
then.
do you need to close the work session?
Oh, yes. Any other questions by
Again with
the
priorities.
commission of staff? Then we'll close the work session and reconvene general session. But first, we'll have some cake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, the time is 6:38, and the Planning and Zoning Commission is reconvening back into general session. Prior to coming out before you, we met in pre-session to review the cases. Our first order of business tonight is to review the meeting. We now have our meeting minutes from our last meeting. Yes, to review the minutes of our previous meeting, November 21st. Are there any comments by the commission, or is there a motion by the commission?
I move to approve the
Okay.
meetings for November 21st.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hafman to approve the meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a second by Commissioner Guerra. Cammie, would you call the roll, please?
Please respond by saying aye or nay as I call your name. Commissioner Blankenship.
Aye.
Commissioner Guerra.
Abstain.
Chairman Haas.
Aye.
Commissioner Hafman.
Aye.
And Commissioner Maurer.
Abstain.
And Commissioner Bishop.
Aye.
All approved, none opposed, motion carries.
Okay, item 4 is citizens' appearance. Is there anybody here who would like to speak on an item not on the agenda that is signed up? Seeing none. Cammie, has anybody signed up electronically? Okay, seeing none. Prior to closing it, I would like to take a moment to recognize Glenn Portman, our former vice chair. Glenn has been with the Planning and Zoning Commission for 17 years. 2007 was his start with the Planning and Zoning Commission, but he was on a couple of other boards. Glenn has played a vital role for us on the commission in serving on the Planning and Zoning, but also meeting with the council, the Economic Development Board when we had that, the SMART Board, the Forward Board. And so I would like to thank you, Glenn, on behalf of the commission for all your years of service. You've been a tremendous asset to the commission and the perspectives you brought on all the cases that has come before us. And we've seen a few fun ones. I remember some of the looks on your face after we finished some of them. So thank you very much, and it has been an absolute pleasure to work with you. So the podium is open if you'd like to say anything.
I will say thank you very much to our citizens and members of the planning committee, and to our city council members. I certainly enjoyed my time on the planning commission.
It was great to have you, and thank you very much. Coppell is a better place because you were part of helping making some important decisions, so thank you for that. Don't feel compelled to have to stay the rest of the night. We know you unless you really want to. Okay, all righty. So with that, I'll move on to item number 5. This is item 6, a public hearing to consider approval of PD-157R9-C, that being Valley Ranch Plaza lots 1 and 3, block 1, Singa's Pizza, a zoning change request from Plan Development number 157, revision number 8, commercial, to Plan Development number 157, revision number 9, commercial, to allow the operation of a 1,160 square foot restaurant located at 817 South MacArthur Boulevard, along the west side of South MacArthur Boulevard, south of East Beltline Road, at the request of MM Valley Ranch, and being represented by Mark Guest of eBarb and Guest Architecture. We have a staff presentation by Mr. Matt Steer. Matt?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, in 2020, Plan Development 157R8-C was approved to divide the property into 3 lots for the purpose of sale. The McDonald's restaurant at Lot 2 Block A is now under separate ownership and is not part of this PD request. It's only for lots 1 and 3. The purpose of this request is to allow a Singa's Pizza restaurant to occupy the lease space that wasn't previously designated as a restaurant space. The site abuts residential to the west, therefore a special use permit would typically be required. Because the current zoning is a planned development, the approval of this restaurant use can be considered by simply amending the PD. In addition to allowing for the use, a PD condition is requested to allow for a 5 parking space exception to the shared parking provided for lots 1 and 3, Block A. A parking analysis plan was provided on the site plan. This indicates that 209 parking spaces are existing and 214 are required. All restaurant users require one parking space per 100 square feet. Therefore, because Singa's Pizza is 1,120 square feet, it requires 11.2 parking spaces. Medical requires one parking space per 175 square feet, and retail or service uses require one parking space per 200 square feet. The Stun P business is listed as the business number 4 in the parking chart. This is a user that rents U-Hauls. 18 spaces are shown because 12 parking spaces were used for storage of U-Haul trucks in the rear of the building. Staff visited the site and witnessed many more parking spaces being used for the storage of the U-Hauls. In consultation with the property owner, they're going to ensure that no more than 12 designated spaces are being utilized at any one time for U-Haul storage. And here's what they've done to ensure the U-Hauls are properly stored on site. First, they reminded the tenant to only park within the designated U-Haul spaces. Second, they've painted a reserved U-Haul to ensure that no one else parks there. And keep in mind, this is in the back of the building, away from all other prime parking. And this is the one instance where we'd support the designating of parking spaces. Back to Singa's Pizza. There are no proposed changes to the exterior buildings other than the addition of the attached signage. This is compliant with the sign section of the zoning ordinance. The proposed floor plan shows 4 two-person tables and 2 four-person tables. The proposed hours of operation are daily from 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. And the existing PD conditions related to setbacks, landscape buffers, and shared parking and dumpster agreements are being carried forward with this request. And there's 2 additional conditions relating to additional restaurant use or additional restaurant area and the parking exception. We sent out 23 notices within 200 feet, 56 courtesy notices within 800 feet. We received no responses either in favor or opposition, and staff is recommending approval of PD 157R9-C Valley Ranch Plaza, subject to the following conditions. 1, proposed PD to increase allowed restaurant area on lots 1 and 3, Block A, from 8,400 to 10,120 square feet. 2, proposed PD to utilize an exception to allow 209 parking spaces to accommodate the proposed increase in restaurant uses that would typically require 214 spaces. The hours of operation shall not exceed 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. daily. Proposed signage shall require a permit. And 5, a grease trap be installed that's adequately sized to support the restaurant use. And that concludes my presentation. The applicant is in the audience as well. If you have any questions for him, thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Matt. Any questions by the commission of staff? Okay, seeing none. I see the applicant is here. If I could get your name and address for the record.
Yes, can everybody hear me? And I want to begin by thanking you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Guest. My address is 3309 Elm Street, Dallas, Texas 75226.
And is there anything you'd like to add to the presentation? Are you in agreement with the conditions as set forward?
Matt did a great job, and I'm in agreement with everything he said.
Any questions of the applicant by the commission? Well, we're making it tough for you tonight. Looking forward to perhaps another member of our community. Thank you very much.
Thank
This
you.
is a public hearing. Is there anybody who'd like to speak for or against the proposed application? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Thank you very much. Is there any final discussion by the commission? Is there a motion?
I would like to make a motion for the approval of PD 157R9C, Valley Ranch Plaza, lots 1 and 3, Block 1, Singa's Pizza, a zoning change request from PD 157R8C to PD 157R9C, in accordance with staff conditions.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Guerra. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Marr. Cammie, would you call the roll, please?
Please respond by saying aye or nay as I call your name. Commissioner Blankenship.
Aye.
Commissioner Guerra.
Aye.
Chairman Haas.
Aye.
Commissioner Hafeman.
Aye.
Commissioner Mauer.
Aye.
And Commissioner Bishop.
Aye.
All approved, none opposed, motion carries.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. All righty, item 7 is a public hearing. This is to consider approval of PD-320-TC, Town Center Edition, Lot 2, Block 3, that being Jason's Deli drive-through. The zoning change request from Town Center to Plan Development Number 320 Town Center to allow the operation of a 4,618 square foot drive-through restaurant located on the east side of Denton Tap Road, north of Town Center Boulevard at 240 North Denton Tap Road, at the request of Alan Hinckley and being represented by Travis Brown of GPD Group. We have a staff presentation by Miss Mary Prone Boswell. Mary.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. This is item 7, public hearing. This particular piece of property, as well as surrounding properties, was zoned Town Center back in the 1980s. In September of 2001, City Council approved a site plan for this tract to allow for the development of a 12,975 square foot retail building, subject to the elimination of a drive-through area to meet the on-site landscaping requirements. This request today is to allow a 4,618 square foot Jason's Deli restaurant with the drive-through to occupy the leased space at the northern end of the existing building. So we've kind of come full circle back with that question. So the restaurant will provide dine-in and carry-out services. There's no patio proposed for this location. The hours of operation will be 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. This building currently has no restaurants, although it has been home to several smaller restaurants in the past, a Taco Del Mar, a Carvel Ice Cream, a Little Caesars Pizza, and a Healthy Me Marketplace. So the site was constructed to accommodate office, retail, and restaurant uses. It does have the parking to adequately supply a restaurant use at this location. So this request is twofold. First, to allow a restaurant with a drive-through, and secondly, to allow the change in the amount of landscape that is provided. The one other change to this site, if you can see on the top right, kind of bubbled in, is the addition of 2 parking spaces along the eastern portion, which will also require a removal of part of the parking island. In terms of elevations, the building essentially is going to look the same, with the only changes being to the signage proposed. No signage was really submitted with this. You can see it on the plans, but we don't have any, they'll have to come back for a permit for the actual signage. The other change that you'll see is with the drive-through is to add a drive-through window. This will be dressed in a combination of porcelain, tile, and faux wood cladding. So just like that. Here we just have a look at the floor plan. So the yellow represents the side of the building with the drive-through on the north end of the site. You see all the seating to the south of that. In terms of landscaping, this is the biggest change to the site is the removal of some of the landscape area on the north side of the property in order to provide for the drive-through lane. The drive-through lane is about 10 by 200 feet. In an attempt to offset the landscape area deficiency, the applicant is proposing to add additional trees on site in the islands and along the eastern perimeter and the drive-through area. In addition, they'll be providing some hardscape in the form of stamped concrete at the entrance and exit of the drive-through area. So one of the PD conditions is to allow the landscaping as presented. So this is a public hearing. We did send out notices within 200 feet and 800 feet, and we received no responses. Staff is recommending approval of PD 320-TC, subject to the following conditions. 1, to allow for a restaurant with a drive-through area as presented. 2, to allow the landscaping as presented. 3, for the hours of operation not to exceed 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. 4, that any proposed signage shall require a separate submittal and permit. And 5, that the restaurant must be served by an adequately sized grease trap on site. That is the end of my presentation, but the applicant is here as well to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mary. Any questions of staff by the commission? Ready?
Mary, I do have one question. I failed to ask you this, but I guess in regards to like a canopy or awning for the drive-through itself, and then when you're ordering, I'm assuming there was no discussion about that, or what's our policy regarding that?
We don't have a policy regarding that, but I think, let me see here. I don't see one on the plans, but you can ask them about that.
Thank you.
Any other questions of staff by the commission? Okay. I see the applicants here to present the case. If we can get your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Tavis Brown, GPD Group, 5050 Quorum Drive, Dallas, Texas 75254.
Okay, thank you for that. Is there anything you'd like to add to the presentation with regards to the proposed site?
Thank you, Mary, for the presentation. I would just agree with Mary's recommendations and ask that the PD be approved with the conditions stated.
So I've got a few questions about, I haven't seen a drive-through Jason's Deli before, so I'm just more curious about the operations. And is this a new concept by Jason's Deli, or is this?
No, they have, some of their stores do have drive-throughs. Some of them don't. I think it's something that they offer just as an option because since what they've seen since COVID is that there's less people that come in and actually dine, so they're more likely to get folks that have takeout orders or come through the drive-through.
Okay. And with regards to the drive-through, I see there's a menu board called out, and so is it like a typical fast food menu board? Is it going to be limited to certain items? Seems like this might be, the pickup orders might be quicker for those picking up and moving on versus, to me, food prep from a Jason's Deli might be a little bit longer than fast food, so
Right.
what is that going to look like?
So the pickup orders would actually, you'd come inside for.
Oh, okay.
They have a specific area that's allotted for pickup orders versus drive-through.
Okay. And is it a full menu board?
It's a full menu, yes.
Okay. And is that I failed to ask in the pre-session, is that a lit board, like a internally lit type menu board, or what is that going to look like?
We haven't seen the menu board yet.
Okay, so would that have to come through us, or is it through administrative approval once it's presented?
Yeah, it would go through administrative,
Okay.
yeah.
And then I guess with regards to sound, speakers, communications, is there a cap on the volume?
I'm sure there is a cap on the volume. I couldn't speak to exactly what that cap is.
Yeah, I know we're in a commercial area, but I know it's come up in other restaurant
Sure.
applications because of adjacent residential, and I think the limit was 65 decibels. Is that what it was?
I'd have to look, but.
Okay, we have limitations on volume.
We
No?
don't. Typically, I think what you're referring to is when there is residential adjacency. And like you said, this one there's no residential adjacency. So we do not, staff is not worried about that.
Okay. Any other questions by the commission? Freddie?
So I do have two questions for you.
Yes.
So the first question was about the menu board and just a canopy on that, and then also where you're actually picking up your order. And then the second question was with when you're exiting the drive-through, it seems like you're wanting people to go more to the south versus to the north, the way the curb cut is there. But is just wanted to know the reasoning behind that too.
So there is, in the order, at the ordering, there would be a little cover over the ordering area as you go through the drive-through there. So to answer that question. And then with regards to just exiting the drive, really it was just, there's existing landscaping obviously on both sides, but just trying to not impact the existing landscaping or minimize the impact, essentially. So, I mean, if there's a desire to direct traffic more towards Plan North, that could certainly be accommodated.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cindy?
This is more of a comment than a question, but thank you for having an entrance on the east side as well as the west side, because I know traffic parking in that parking lot on the west side gets kind of crazy. So I personally like to park on the east side and go in the back door, so to speak. So thank you for adding that.
You're welcome.
Ed?
So as it relates to the drive-through and speed of service, do you have any idea of what the speed of service levels are? And in similar locations, have you typically put in an escape lane or contemplated that? And I know it's difficult to contemplate it in this particular layout, but I'm just curious on the.
So in terms of what they get in drive-through, it's not going to be anything like you would see at like a Chick-fil-A. So that's not what they see. So like I said, the majority of their order, I mean, I say majority, but the more concentration of their orders is going to be pickup and dine in. They don't see a lot of drive-through traffic.
Okay, thank you.
In looking at the floor plan, it looks different from a typical Jason's Deli. I didn't see a food bar, the salad bar.
So, Mary, could you go back to the floor plan, please?
I'm just asking, just curious minds.
So, I don't know if I can point. The salad bar is adjacent. It's right there. Nope.
Oh, that's it?
Right there. That's it. There's the salad bar.
Okay. This is a public hearing, easy now. All right, thank you for that. Any other questions by the commission of the applicant? Cindy?
I do have one. In pre-session, it was kind of mentioned that, so some of your parking is going to be on the north side of the building, and in order for those customers to get into the building, they have to cross your drive-through exit. So a simple request would be to maybe put some type of signage that says slow pedestrian crossing of some sort, so the people parking on that north side can safely get across your drive-through.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions of the applicant? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. Is there anybody who'd like to speak for or against the proposed application? Y'all are just out for fun tonight, huh? Okay, very good. Then I will close the public hearing. Any discussion by the commission?
One thing I did want to mention again is just I have, I guess, some concern with the way the cars are going to exit. For me, I think they should have an option to go either south or north.
Okay, so in other words, kind of relax the curb return on the right side, and then tighten the curb return on the south side to force it kind of to the right and away from all the. Okay, did you catch that?
You just want to be able to have more.
Just the ability to yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You could go either way.
Right. There's a tighter curb return on one side versus the other. So only because of the traffic in front there. So.
Mr. Chairman, I had a thought as well, building on Sue's comment. Maybe it would be wise to have a break in that landscaping so that it's easy to walk through that drive-through lane to access the building from the parking on the north.
Okay. Any final discussions or a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion. I move to approve PD 320 TC Town Center Edition, Lot 2, Block 3, zoning change request from PD 320 TC to to plan development town center to allow for the operation of a 4,600 square foot drive-through restaurant, subject to staff conditions.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Marr. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Blankenship. Cammie, would you call the roll, please?
Please respond by saying aye or nay as I call your name. Commissioner Blankenship.
Aye.
Commissioner Guerra.
Aye.
Chairman Haas.
Aye.
Commissioner Hafman.
Aye.
Commissioner Mauer.
Aye.
And Commissioner Bishop.
Aye.
All approved, none opposed, motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. All righty, item 8 this evening is the update on council actions. We reviewed those in pre-session. Item 9 is adjournment, but prior to that, I would like to again say thank you to Glenn Portman for his service on the Planning and Zoning Commission. It was invaluable, and so, and thank you for the council for recognizing him. I thought that was really important, so that's great. Okay, happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas, be safe out there, and with that, I'll adjourn the meeting, and the time is 7:03.